And so folks have no idea that the practice of yoga has all of these other aspects. They only think of it as this, as the poses. They only think that's it. And so it can discourage Black and brown folks. It can discourage differently able bodies or older bodies, because they're like, I can't relate to that physical aspect. That doesn't feel approachable or adaptable to me. Or folks who are on the fringe or feel othered by society, not just only like BIPOC and Black communities, but folks who are just fringe folks, the folks that society doesn't ever consider, like folks who are differently abled. If commercial yoga is only showcasing this one performative lens, which is very fitness based, then it overlooks a majority of the society.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the UpNUp Podcast on the UpNUp Network. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Very, very blessed, very grateful.
Yep.
That's the best way I could put it.
Feel you.
Grateful for everybody in the room. Grateful for the moment. And I'm... Oh, you got some?
No, I was just going to say likewise.
Yeah. And I'm mostly grateful for the listeners who are tuning in right now, right?
For sure.
For those of you first-time listeners, as I stated, this is the UpNUp Podcast. This is the podcast where we're focused on cultivating culture, right? We do that by providing amazing stories of individuals, groups, movements, right? People who are taking up space, carving lanes, you know what I mean, making paths. Not only for everybody that's still here, but those coming from behind, right? Yep. The next generation. Definitely want to make sure we're shouting out the family members, right? We don't call them listeners. We don't call them viewers. We call them family members, right? So salute to you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you for rocking and staying consistent, right? Salute.
Sure.
Yeah, man. And I'm excited, man. I'm very excited because, you know, what we do here is about uplifting, man. You know, whether it's just an hour out of your day, we want to make sure we give you something that's going to keep you moving on to the next step, right? Or the next move or the next jump, whatever it is you're trying to do. And I'm excited because today's guest is someone whose work and contributions have truly given folks the space they need to empower themselves, but also empower others as a result of their own self-work, right? She's definitely a true culture cultivator who's keeping everything she's doing on the up and up. Yep. A little bit of insight on the work she's been doing. She's the founder and creator of the Amazing Yoga by Biola platform, which is focused on cultivating inclusive wellness spaces that really encourage communities to develop their own personal practice in the process. And in addition to having that platform, you can also add Educator to her resume with the creation of her online educational platform, Aya. Aya is a platform that celebrates non-performative yoga, which focuses on nurturing and not critiquing. And the platform has truly provided, I would say, an alternative to the commercialized yoga space. And it has an approach where they truly try to guide you through your body in a way that feels natural and familiar. And really just helping people embrace the diversity of their body, right? You know, I can go on and on, man. She's a leader. She's a healer. She's on a mission really to help and guide others to becoming their best selves. And, you know, what best way to invest in yourself than to invest in your health, right? Right?
Did it again.
There's no better way, right? There's no better way, man.
Yes,
so let's
sir.
just get straight to it, man. We're excited. We're honored. Our guest is none other than the healing and empowering boss herself, Biola Akanni. Can we get a round of applause?
Hey.
Give it up.
Hercules.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to be here. I am nervous.
Yeah?
I told y'all that, but y'all kind of gave me the pep talk. The nerves mean good things.
Yeah.
And so, no, it feels good to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you here. We're excited.
Definitely.
How's the day treating you?
It's a Wednesday, so Wednesday are hump days.
Yeah.
It's a busy day.
Yeah.
We've been gearing up for, I just got to correct you on the name, Iya.
Okay, I'm sorry. Iya.
Yeah, and so we've been gearing up for our 200-hour yoga teacher training. So I've just been running through applications. I've had meetings back to back, and then YouTube content. So it's been a crazy day for me.
Okay. Well, let's try to settle in here and, you know, let's try to have a great good pause.
Yeah.
But not a pause.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a pause.
A pause without the pause.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I don't know if you're familiar, but we always start every episode with the quote of the day, something to get the vibe right, get the conversation started.
Okay, cool.
Brother man man of the quotes.
Let's get it, man.
What you got for
All
us?
right.
Man?
So the quote of the day today is, "My ambition didn't grow out of nowhere. It was planted in me by a community that nurtured me."
Yeah. Like that one. Who was that quote by?
Michael Eric Dyson. Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. My guy.
I like Michael Eric Dyson.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I love that. That's a good quote. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for that one.
Sure.
Now Biola, so we're gonna get into the journey, right? Obviously, you've come a long way, and you've went through a lot to get to where you're currently at. But in my own research and kind of learning more about kind of your platform and everything you guys have done, what stuck out to me is you had something where you said you guys are disrupting commercial yoga standards and prioritizing fitness-based poses that prioritize fitness-based poses over adaptable asana. Is that how I pronounce it?
Asana, yeah.
Asana.
Poses, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess from your own viewpoint, like, how would you describe what makes the approach you guys are taking so impactful and valuable to those that you work with?
Absolutely. Well, a few different things, but going on what you just said, the first one being that when folks think about the commercial yoga industry, they think about a lot of the fitness-based yoga postures that you see, like the crazy acrobatic postures that folks are doing, bending and twisting into pretzels, which I have to give it up to those people because that takes a lot of commitment and discipline and practice. However, the practice of yoga has so much more involved in that. That's only one of the limbs. That's only one of the 8 limbs of yoga, which is asana, which is the poses. And we fail to reach so many more people by only showcasing the poses. And so our approach is non-performative yoga, non-fitness-based yoga, which is basically the practice beyond the poses. That includes all the other aspects, all the other facets of the practice. That includes yoga philosophy and education. That includes pranayama, which is breath practices, and meditation practices. If the pandemic showed us anything during George Floyd, is that folks just want to feel settled, safe, and seen in their bodies. So all of those crazy acrobatic postures, most of society does not care about. They're looking to get into the practice in a way that feels approachable and adaptable for them. That can be through asana, that can be through the poses, but you also got to break it down in a way that feels adaptable for different bodies. Folks who have bigger bodies, who are older bodies, who are differently abled bodies, and for folks who just don't even care about that. For folks who I just want to learn how to breathe, or I just want to learn how to be in meditation and sit still with my own thoughts. Or maybe I want to actually explore the Yoga Sutras and understand the philosophy of this practice. You can get into the practice through all of those ways as well. So when we say non-performative yoga education, we're offering all the other facets of the practice in addition to asana, so that folks can enter the practice through different lanes.
I love it. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, you broke that down.
Yeah, that was a great breakdown.
No, you broke that down. And I actually just brought it up because I think when people hear the word disrupt, it comes off a certain way. And I think it's about your perspective and how you see it, because sometimes what's disrupting needs to be disrupted. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's how I see it. That's how I saw it. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, definitely.
The commercial yoga industry definitely only shows one lens. And so folks have no idea that the practice of yoga has all of these other aspects. They only think of it as this as the poses. They only think that's it. And so it can discourage Black and brown folks. It can discourage differently able bodies or older bodies, because they're like, I can't relate to that physical aspect. That doesn't feel approachable or adaptable to me. Or folks who are on the fringe or feel othered by society, not just only like BIPOC and Black communities, but folks who are just fringe folks, the folks that society doesn't ever consider, like folks who are differently abled. If commercial yoga is only showcasing this one performative lens, which is very fitness based, then it overlooks a majority of the society.
I love it.
Right.
I love it. That's real.
Definitely. I also want to take it back to, and we'll talk about like your early life, your upbringing. If you want to touch on that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, where it at?
Where it started? The beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
Grew up in Atlanta, right?
I did. So my family's from Nigeria.
Okay.
And I moved from Atlanta when I was around 7. Mm-hmm. My mom is quite spiritual, and I did grow up Muslim. And my cousins were getting in a lot of trouble, and my sister was heading that way too, and my mom wanted kind of a new life for us. And so she had one friend who randomly lived in Seattle, and she kind of came out here for a year, told my dad to, hold down the fort, and we stayed there with him in Atlanta while she kind of surveyed the lay of the land here in Washington State, living in somebody's garage. And when she felt like, yeah, this is where I want the kids to be, she had my dad send us down, and that's how we ended up here. However, I was always a very introspective child, a little bit more on the neurodivergent side of things. So I'm a hypersensitive person, have some neurodivergent kind of processing. So I was just a very emotionally needy child, my mom would say. I had a lot of needs that went unmet, and suffered some other types of traumas when I was younger, some sexual trauma and some other things. So when we moved here, dealing with that in like Nigerian culture, like types of mental health is scary for the family. They think of it like as this negative thing or a curse, and so they try to overlook it or negate it, and that went on for a very long time. And also when I moved here, it was exacerbated by a severe bullying that I experienced, in high school and middle school, so much so that I had to like transfer schools. And it was really bad. It was a lot of racial bullying, but also from white folks, but also from black folks. I didn't feel like I was, or made fun of for not being black enough. And it led me to kind of abuse substances when I was young. So I was, abusing different substances, in high school, and that I went on to pursue more of that, by the time I entered college. And I got into a pretty bad car accident. I was always athletic, so I ran track. And then I played women's rugby in college, and I got in a really bad car accident that exacerbated my scoliosis, and they gave me even more prescription drugs. So I had a really, bad substance abuse problem. But for me at the time, it felt like I'm just going to do these substances. It felt like an answer. I'm just going to do these substances so that I can feel confident. This feels like the perfect answer. It just made sense. Like logically, you just do this and you have some sense of confidence and some sense of normalcy, like moving through life. And that was my answer. And it got really bad, especially when that car accident came. And so I wasn't able to do anything physically active. I wasn't able to play rugby. I wasn't able to run. So my roommate at the time, made a recommendation. She's like, why don't you try, yoga? Why don't you give that a try? And so I did. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And it just split me wide open, in a way that was really emotional. I started to see all of these kind of self-deprecating thoughts that I had, but it was also a revelation that I could see an aspect of myself that I could learn to love and explore that love in a greater capacity, because there was a lot of deep-seated insecurity that had compounded with me using and suppressing a lot of my trauma. So the practice helped me to start to just see a sliver of myself that I could enjoy and love, and from there get to the root of the aspects of myself that I really didn't enjoy without judgment or criticism. I could actually sit with it and see like, oh, that came from there. And the science of yoga gave me the practice and the tools to begin to replace that with something else.
Yeah.
So I was gaining, quote unquote, self-love, which I really don't like that term. I find that it's self-intimacy is a lot more specific. I started to cultivate a relationship of self-intimacy where I could see into myself comfortably, and also begin to replace the aspects of myself that I didn't love because I was gaining the victory over them. Like, so I gained the self-love because I gained the victory over the aspects of myself that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So that's how self-love is cultivated, not by bubble baths and massages and facials.
It's real work. It's
real
work.
You have to sit with the aspects of yourself that you dislike, so you can actually gain the victory over them.
I like that. I like the and thank you for sharing that. Because I think it gives context, right, to why people do what they do. Like I was just talking to Benim earlier. We were just talking about, you know, when people pursue things or people do things, and sometimes the perception is, oh, you do this thing, but there's always a reason and a why for why people do what they do. I am curious. So growing up, obviously playing. You said you were an athlete. You played sports, right? And a lot of times with sports, you know, it can be competitive based, right? But then after going through the situation with the car accident, and you mentioned how you kind of had to. Like you didn't really have a lot of options in terms of expressing the athletic side. In athletics, you're competing. With yoga, did it feel like, okay, I don't have to compete here? Was that something?
Oh no, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't that.
I am competitive by nature, and I ran track for several years. I was a sprinter, so I first started practicing, you know, yoga, particularly Bikram yoga, and I went ham. Like I went hard, like. Just the person in the front, like the crazy hot yoga, doing the crazy, like I started out super performative, like doing the crazy postures. I even went on to compete in a Bikram yoga competition.
Oh,
like
there's competitions.
There was like 10 years ago when I started, for sure.
And just for context, so you were you went to Western Washington University. Okay, yeah. So is that where you kind of discovered the practice?
I did
in college. Okay,
yeah, in college, and I went on to compete in a Bikram yoga competition where you're doing these crazy postures and you're judged on the perfection of the pose, how long you can hold it, your flexibility. Like it indicates the whole practice of yoga if you think about it. But I was crazy competitive. Like I was doing the most and pushing my body to crazy extremes because I still had the competitive edge in me. It didn't
carried
go away.
Into that then.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And you know, it showed a lot of how I push myself to the limits because I feel like I need to earn something. So I need to like strive extra hard to earn favor or earn some type of reward or to fit in a certain place. And that's where I started to hear that narrative a lot through how much I was pushing myself, not in a healthy way, but in definitely in a negative way.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned you went to Western. I'm always kind of curious to know, like, what were your first, like, feelings and, like, thoughts entering college? Because, you know, that's, like, obviously a big step for, like, you know.
Man, I remember just being like, I'm free!
Yeah.
My parents were so disciplined. Like, my mom was a crazy disciplinarian. And she says this now, like, I needed it because she knew. She's like, you're going to go off the rails. And I did. I was the one, the one kid that went off the rails. And so she disciplined me young, like, I wasn't allowed to do anything. So by the time college came, I was like, I'm free. And I just went, I wasn't even, I think I definitely was using drugs, but the way I was using them was like I was an everyday user, and I wanted to use them so like you felt like I was like cool and down, but you didn't know that I was high. So I wasn't like trying to do them to be like the crazy person because I'm not, but you know, I was a secret user because I just wanted to, like, she's so chill, but you don't know I'm so high right now. And
I got it.
And so college for me was it was a really, you know, it was a crazy experience, but it was a really transformative experience because also while I was practicing, I was learning how to cultivate like a sense of self and confidence and really re-explore discipline in a way that like was from my own lens, not from my parents, not from what my parents had told me. You know, Nigerian parents have so many narratives that they feed you. And so it was the one opportunity I had to create my own narrative. What's my relationship to discipline? What's my ambition? What's like my sense of self and begin to explore all these aspects and exploring my own competitive nature and also just learning and redefining who I was. You know, it was a really rad time, and I'm thankful for just the practice and Western, because I feel like I just met so many cool people. I also learned how to like enjoy more of myself, you know, being a dark-skinned woman here and like growing up darker skin. That was a struggle because in Atlanta there was no issue, you know, but it was an issue here. You know, I went to school in Mukilteo and that like Kamiak and
okay. I went to Mariner.
I transferred to Mariner because I got so badly bullied at Kamiak, but I went to Olympic View. My family lives in Mukilteo.
Okay.
But I had to transfer schools because it was so bad at Kamiak. But just going through that, and I just had to find like that love for my dark skin and my body, that body positivity, you know, being curvier and all these things that a lot of Black darker skinned women go through. Like I was struggling with that, and college gave me the open space to explore it and start to heal from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
I always feel that because, I mean, I know I wasn't the same person leaving as this person I was when I first got there, you know, so I'm always, like, curious to hear, like, you know.
It softened me for sure.
Yeah.
In high school, I was really hard, but I felt like I needed to be because of the bullying. I wasn't going to let anybody punk me out again, especially after, you know, transferring Kamiak and coming to Mariner. I came with a massive chip on my shoulder. I was a bitch. You know, I was hard. I was really hard, and it took a long time to take off that like really hard, like masculine edge. But the practice of yoga started to help me soften and realize like I don't need to protect so much. I don't need to protect, like love covers.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's real.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
That's real. And I love that you're able to reflect, because I think, and I'm glad you asked that question, because, you know, reflection is just as important as, you know, projection, like what you want to do in the future and what you want to become and all that good stuff, which is great. But that time hasn't came yet. That time has already happened. So sometimes a lot of that is meant for you to learn from. It's like a good book, you know, like I have so many notes from good books that I've read, and I just go revisit those notes.
Absolutely.
Right? I always like to go back and revisit, because it's kind of like, it's like a cheat code in a sense where you can kind of go back to that. That's you. Yeah, so I'm glad you're able to reflect on that. And speaking of kind of, like you said, coming out of college, I did look at that. You had a lot of it prior to yoga. You had a lot of work experience. That wasn't necessarily in the yoga space. So if I'm not mistaken, you were a writer, journalist, blogger. You worked for publications such as Seattle Met, Zulily, and countless others. But like looking back at that time, I guess what did you take away from that kind of corporate work experience that maybe you were able to be more confident going into the yoga space as a businesswoman and as an entrepreneur? Sure. You could touch on that.
Man, I feel like a cat. Like I've lived like so many lives, man. I've lived so many different lives.
Yeah.
But my passion was always like fashion journalism. You know, like I said, my parents are Nigerian. You go to school, you study political science, you prepare to become a lawyer. So that's what I studied. Then when I graduated, I was just like, you know, I'm not going to take the LSAT. I don't think I'm going to do this. And my parents were really upset. But I did it anyways and pursued my dream. And I started fashion blogging. That was really fun. I really had I don't know what I was doing. I was just like, I want to do this thing. I started to explore my creative side, and that was the first introduction to it. And that went into fashion marketing and copywriting for a small town designer and styling. And then Seattle Met hit me up, and I started writing for them. And then I started doing fashion marketing copywriting for Zulily, and that was like my first, like, you know, corporate professional experience. And that shit took me out. Like, it took me out. I hated it. Like I hated it. I was like sitting in a seat, you know, 8 a.m. to 5. My body was hurting. My scoliosis was acting up. You know, I wasn't like, I had completely been, you know, I hadn't been using it all. And so I didn't have anything to deal with that discomfort, and it was just frustrating. Like, I was just really kind of depressed working at Zulily, because I was just like, I hate this. Like, the sun is out and I'm inside. You know, like, you know, and I was just like, I'm a creative. I can't be doing this. And that was also during the time that I got my first 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I got it, and a few months later, someone offered me the opportunity to teach a retreat, and I was like, yo, I just got my certification like 2 months ago. Are you sure? I really don't know what I'm doing yet. And they're like, it'll be both our first. And when I came back from Hawaii after teaching that, I was just like, man, yeah, like, I'm going to do this. And I put in my 2 weeks notice with Zulily. But one of the things that Zulily really taught me, and all of that professional experience, all the writing, is professionalism to the most. Like, you know, like, professionalism. Like, I can create a proposal and I can draft it up in a really clean way. I'm an incredible writer, so I'm really good with the written word. And I can draft a proposal, create that, send it off to a brand, and just like win their favor just from that alone. Carry myself with professionalism, you know, tact and timeliness, and just understand the nature of business and how business operates. Not only because my time at Zulily, but because I really admire it. I love, it's like fucking cracking a code for me, like business, like, like obsessing over a problem and finding a solution. I love it. Like, I'm really driven by that. And so it's given me so much in my business. It's helped navigate a lot, even though it's taken a lot of time to get to where I am. And I still feel like I'm moving through reducing my own performance and embodying more of myself, and like get into that place I want to get. The professionalism has been on point, and setting up a business, like setting yourself up as a business, like, how do you do that? Like, all of that's necessary. And not cutting corners.
I love everything you just touched on. Literally, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, you know, whether you like you said, okay, someone reached out to you with a 200-hour yoga course, or after your 200-hour yoga course, you had an opportunity. But while you had that opportunity, you were still working there, right? And I think a lot of people are always in positions where you can do both until it's time to go do that. And don't feel so discouraged, but just take whatever experience you're gaining from here and understand that you're going to utilize it here, right?
Absolutely.
And that's I think that's important, because the perspective is everything. How you view your current, like, I saw someone tweet the other day, they're like, be where your feet are, you know? And I'm like, I feel that, because it's like, you can't change where you're at. So what are you going to do? What are you going to take from where you're currently at
like,
into what you're doing or trying to do?
Don't skip your graduation, man. Like, I feel like you graduate through different things. Like, I graduated from being a journalist to this, to that, to Zulily, and I completed the graduation. Like, I didn't try to like cut corners or rush out before my time because I was, you know, uncomfortable or this or that, but I waited till I fulfilled the lesson. Like, you gotta mature in the area you're in, and I think this is why self-study and self-inquiry is so essential, which is what yoga is. It's like, it gives you the tools to like sit with and look at yourself and be honest about what's in your body. Like, what am I carrying? I can't blame anybody. Like, I can, but then only to like a certain extent. You're still you're still there. Like, you're still gonna meet yourself there. And so eventually you gotta sit with yourself. But I know that it's really, really hard not to do that and like remove the judgment and the criticism. Like, that is really, really challenging, especially as Black folks, when we deal with so much judgment and criticism. So then you want me to sit with myself and like feel all that comes up. But it's essential so you can really receive where you are. Like, not like fake. You fake it till you make it, but you also gotta discern, like, where am I really right now?
That's real.
No, I feel that, because like I say, like, a lot of the times, a lot of people say, like, oh, you got to get over something, or like, get over it, but it's like, you got to go through it. You really can't get over it. You're never going to really learn from that, you know? So, I mean, that's just what I'm taking away from this right now. And it's like, I think it's important for people to know that.
And it's a beautiful place. It's like, that's like that divine feminine energy. Like, let me sit with and like move through slowly. Like, let me process this. Like, one of the main things I learned is like, you can't effort your way to like enlightenment or anything like that. You like the vehicles for enlightenment are like love, bliss, enjoyment. So like, let me not jump from here to there, because there's no jumping. I have to process this. I have to be fulfilled in it. I have to move through it. And there's like a receptivity, like that divine feminine that we all have. And I think that's so necessary, because we operate in our masculine so much. Like, men do, women do, like, but it's a balance of both. Like, you gotta like be in that receptive phase as well, so you can just like process and receive. Like, let me move through this slowly. Like, let me not try to barge my way in and out of this so that I miss like what I meant to learn here, because that's for me. That's my diamond. And I want that. You know?
I love that, man. That's a gem. Speaking of diamonds, but that's really a gem for sure. Now I did want to kind of get into the pivot, right? Which a lot of people talk about, pivoting from one thing to another. But I did read in the article you had been featured in with Shout Out Miami, where they asked you about going from corporate into entrepreneurship and starting your own practice. And you said, I wasn't aware that these decisions were risky at the time. Rather, I was so committed to the vision I saw in my head that I wouldn't see it any other way. You could say I'm a bit risk tolerant.
I am.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm curious, can you touch on, one thing that stuck out to me was the vision, right? Obviously, I'm pretty sure you went through maybe some learning curves to get your business started, because obviously the practice is one thing and then the business side is another. But can you just touch on like that aspect of like being so committed to the vision that you're going to learn regardless of what I needed to do?
Yeah, like I'm risk tolerant. Like I take a lot of risk, and I don't realize that they're risks at the time. Like I didn't realize I was taking such a big risk when I left Zulily and taking that, pay cut. But my commitment to that vision was so huge, because I just realized, man, I'm a creative, and I want to create some shit. Like, I want to create something, and the way I'm saying this in my head, I want to bring this to life. Like, this is my revelation. And I felt like a deep ownership. Like, I feel like a deep ownership over my vision, not only for myself, but for other people. And I don't know, man. I just like, I'm just so committed to it.
Yeah.
I don't really have a plan B. And but I'm also going to be taking all the learning that I can through that process. Like, I'm not going to try to cut corners. I'm going to really commit to it and discipline myself to bring it to life. And also learn all of the things I need to learn, while I'm doing it. Because entrepreneurship is shadow work. Like, you are going to see a lot of yourself. Like, you don't want to get up. Okay, what's gonna come? What, you're still laying there? That's still you. Like, you're still gonna meet yourself. Like, and you are going to interact with so much of yourself that you hide from when you're an entrepreneur. Like, all the aspects that you say, like, no, I don't want to deal with that, or like, that's not me, that's them. All that projection, you cannot avoid it when you're an entrepreneur. Like, it will confront all of that. And you got to be able to sit with that. Like, that's where that receptivity is essential, to process through it, because that's going to give you the tools you need to move to the vision. Like, also desire too, like moving through your desires, because desires mature as you move through them. You're never going to be at one desire. I'm going to give myself to this desire, then it's going to mature. Same with the lessons and the learnings that you're getting about yourself. And so that commitment to the vision is also a commitment to just learning about yourself, and not like being in your own way, not getting in your own way.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, it's like, I definitely know what you mean. Like, you you hold yourself more accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't really project it anywhere else. And like, so.
Because at the end of the day, you're the one creating this. This is coming out of your heart.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's coming from your body. It's coming from your eternity. And so you are responsible for it, not responsible the way you think about it, but your ability to respond to your own vision. Can you respond to it? I want to respond to mine. I feel like it was placed in my heart. God put this in my eternity. And it's also given me the ability to respond to it. That's my responsibility. And so seeing that to fruition is my sonship.
Yep.
is my priestesshood.
Yep.
You know, so that's kind of how I look at it. That's why it's not even like, oh, I'm so committed. It's like it's divine.
Yeah, it's aligned. That's real. That's real. No, that's good stuff, man. I'm curious. Like, I feel like everybody has like a point where they feel like things are clicking, like things, or we've arrived. What is that moment for you in yoga by Biola?
To be honest, I feel like I'm still getting there. I feel like I've had it in trap vinyasa, but also I feel like it was a little delayed because I didn't realize that I didn't give myself the opportunity to realize like the uniqueness of what I was creating, or with the Divine Feminine Yoga Workshop, the ability that I have to create sequences that combine asana, which is yoga postures, and other movement practices, and combine them together intuitively, where different bodies can practice them and feel like I can do this, like a bigger body or a smaller body or an older body, and feel safe and seen in that. I didn't realize it at the time that it was special. I think I was trying so hard to be so deep at the time. So when those moments come, like, oh, there's synchronicity, there's fluidity here moving, this thing is going on its own, I kind of sometimes miss it. I feel like I'm in that point now, and I'm learning how to rest in it and receive it. Like, things are starting to move fluidly and click.
Yeah.
And click.
Yeah. And it takes time to get to that point.
It does. It does. And it takes a lot of reception.
Yeah.
On your part. Like not judging it so much and being so critical.
Definitely.
So hard. It's easier said than done. For real.
You know, because you got to kind of take your hands off. You got to
relinquish. Results. We were just talking about this. I said I read one of my favorite books is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And there's a chapter where it's called The Law of Least Effort, and it kind of touches on like
that's huge.
Yeah, it kind of touches on that. Like, you know, sometimes you got to know how to just fall back and let.
You got to know how to fold them, like Dolly Parton says. Because it's like the result doesn't belong to you. That is the hugest. Like, it's just like, man, but I'm obsessed. Like, I want this result, but if I'm focused on the result, then I abdicate the process, and the process is the opportunity for me to experience bliss. My bliss is not in the result. My bliss is in the process, in the building. And so I really have to like remind myself, take your hands off the results. That's not yours. You know?
I'm going to snap for that one real quick.
Yeah, for real. That was a good one. So, like, what advice would you give somebody who's trying to become like a yoga instructor or get into that industry? Absolutely.
I think the first thing I would offer to them is to sit with the call. Like, am I receiving this call to become an instructor? And also remove any pressure you put on yourself for you to be an instructor a certain way. So first, just sit with the truth. Am I feeling this call? And then when you respond to the call, remove any pressure that you have to be a yoga saint, or to showcase this lens of moralistic standards that I feel like the yoga industry puts on, that's quite performative. Like, that's just that's so fake. That be a yogi like you are a yogi. However that is, with your long nails, with the weave, and the, you know, who cares? Like, if it's trap vinyasa, twerking yoga, whatever, just let it be you. The yoga industry puts like not only the fitness postures, but this like yoga saint that is stuck in duality, good, bad, right, wrong, and it creates such a performative lens. Like, that's not realistic. That's not how people live. You know, people are doing what they need to do and fucking shit up all the time. You know, like there was a time where I was, you know, yogi and using. So just be a yogi how you are a yogi, and be an instructor how you are an instructor, because that story, that your lived experience, that narrative is so essential. So my first thing would just be recognize if you feel that call in your body, and then be a practitioner how you are a practitioner.
That's good. That's good advice. No, thank you for sharing that. And part of what I'm getting as well is like, you know, we live in a day and age now where it's like, yo, man, you can build out your own audiences. You can carve out your own groups of people that you want to connect to. And I think that's the best thing for a lot of people who don't, like, if they feel like they can't appeal to this group, and they know that this group is looking for someone to speak to them directly, you can go speak to them directly now with all the resources we have. And so with the launch of IA, the online education platform, so you guys are essentially providing kind of like a pathway for those who want to get into the space and learn and become their own and empower themselves to lead others. What was it like launching that? And I guess how have you seen it evolve as it's been going?
Man, when I talk about entrepreneurship, really calling you out, entrepreneurship would call out all your stuff that you don't want to see. IA called me out on all of my performative ways and how I was so focused on ego, and more specifically, ego is not a negative thing. Ego is an aspect of yourself that's trying to protect you. Like, I'm trying to protect you from having egg on your face. But it needs to mature. You need to mature your ego so that it kind of settles behind your soul body, and your soul body leads. So my ego wasn't really that mature, and I was really focused on calling myself this healer and taking ownership of healing other people. But I ain't healing nobody. I'm healing myself and holding space for other folks to heal themselves. But I had to remove like this ego on trying to control what's deep. I don't know what's deep for you. You know,
no, you're right.
That's right.
And that's performative. My postures, my practice was performative. How I was showing up in spaces as this healer was performative. It wasn't giving me the permission to just be Biola, which I'm a jokester. I'm a little prankster. And so starting out was rough because I came with all these preconceived notions as to like what I needed to be a founder, and how I needed to operate things, and people need to respect me this way, and they need to talk to me that way, and they need to, so much like immature ego and unnecessarily like masculinity and braggadociousness. And because I was talking about like non-performative yoga, that just showed that out. Like, bitch, you being performative. You know. And so it was like it was hard the first like year and a half, like doing these YTTs and getting students who were just literally calling me out, like, and just reading me for filth, like
that's
my own students,
I mean,
reading me for straight filth.
Man. I mean, because it's about, sometimes we don't recognize how we're positioning ourselves in front of people.
For real.
I always look at that when like something happens in the black community and someone stands up and tries to be like Martin Luther King, and I'm like, bro, I hope you know how you're positioning yourself before you position yourself as such, because you don't have to, right? So it's just understanding, being conscious of like what you're doing while you're doing it. So
I so hear you on that. I'm just now learning about that.
No, we're all learning.
Like, how are you positioning yourself when you walk into a room? And I didn't realize that. Like, I was coming with so much extra, and people feel that. Yeah,
they do.
Students feel that energetically, and it's just like, I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here from, I came to learn from you, but not that way. So I had to just take several seats. And
it helped it evolve,
like,
though.
It helped it evolve, and it's helped it to come to where it is now, where it's like, I'll just tell my students, I'm constantly going through this this lens of teaching of non-performative living, I'm learning with y'all. I'm learning with you. I'm learning alongside you. And to really support my facilitators in a way like let me support y'all, let me prioritize y'all, because you also are holding space for these students, and I would not be able to even hold this space without you. So prioritizing my facilitators like as my road dogs, like instead of like looking them as like behind me. They are the forefront, like helping lead me. They are my teachers. So let me prioritize my facilitators. I think like as business owners, like if you have employees or contractors, like you want their job to be as easy as possible. Like make it easy for them to say yes every day they come to work for you. And then also like really like looking at my students, I'm teaching y'all, but y'all are your own healers. I ain't healing you. I'm providing an education on these facets of yoga, but y'all are your own healers, you know, and approaching them as peers. That's been huge because that gurification happens a lot in yoga, where it's like teacher student, and it creates such a false narrative of who you are as an instructor, and I was feeding into that. So like really supporting my facilitators, holding them down, and then really supporting my students and affirming to them that they are their own whatever they want to be. They are their own teachers. And they are teachers for me too. And that is like literally non-performative yoga. It's breathing non-performative yoga into it, and you know, affirming them, these new generation of instructors and these new generation of leaders that we're bringing up in the yoga industry, so they have that confidence.
Man, that's so impactful.
For real.
You know, and it's like a lot of times the impact won't be truly lived out fully till we're probably no longer here, none of us.
I know, that's why I'm like, girl, take your hand off the results. Take your hand off it. Like, cause I'll be like waiting for my accolades. Okay, I'm waiting for someone to tell me, bitch, you doing a good job, bitch, you doing a good job. And it's just like,
I'm gonna tell you, you're doing a good job. I'll tell you right now.
but it's not always gonna happen. And like, you just like, take your hands off it.
No, I love it though.
You're definitely because I mean I'm learning right now, because I was kind of looking at yoga as like a performative way, you know, but like now that you're breaking it down like this and like non-performative, and I'm sure for like a lot of people, you know, to where you kind of have a different perspective, you feel a little bit more comfortable about it, you know. And I just want to throw that out there. It's like,
and we're trying to like, you know, I'm trying to bring on black male facilitators as well. And we showcase like black men practicing, whether it be asana or meditation or pranayama, like all these other facets of the practice that don't have to be so physical, that really just hold, like it can be so simple, or it can be deep if that's where your practice is drawing you. My hands are off that. But man, like my thing that I love to see is like a black man or a black woman or an older woman just coming in and like taking a practice, taking something that we have online and like just settling into their bodies and exploring themselves. Like this gave me the ability to sit with myself and see and study myself without the judgment or the criticism that I put on myself every day. And I was able to get up off of my mat and like enjoy myself a little more.
It's important. I was gonna say it was impactful and important at the same time. We don't make a new word. It's impacting. But no, it is important work, and I did kind of want to get your thoughts on because you touched on some of the aspects within yoga as meditation. I'm a big advocate for meditation. Like I meditate daily, you know, and sometimes it's just short, right? Because it doesn't have to be super long. But can you just speak to kind of the value of meditation and just stillness amongst all the noise out there? Because there's a lot of people who I feel it's like it doesn't have to be performative. It can just literally be you chilling in your car for 10 minutes, like whatever it is, you know. But can you just touch on from your viewpoint of the power and importance of meditation?
I don't think we realize how afraid we are to sit in silence. Like, we go home, we turn on our phone, like we need to have YouTube on, we need to have the music on, we need to have, like, meditation just helps you over time, not all at once, just little by little. Let me enjoy myself more without, like, this noise or that noise or TV or music. Like, it just helps you get a little bit more comfortable enjoying and sitting with yourself. And it frees you. That frees you from the bondage of noise. Because people say they want to, like, be like, oh yeah, I want to sit with myself, and or I want to do meditation, but like, you're not ready to not be constantly bombarded by noise. So meditation, even if it's for 5 minutes and you're sitting in the car, I gained 5 minutes of just stillness with myself, and I enjoyed myself without anything else for 5 minutes. I'm a little bit freer. If I do it for 10 minutes and I don't have anything going, no one's talking, I don't have any music going, YouTube is not playing in the background, I just enjoyed myself without anything for 10 minutes, I'm a little bit freer of that thing, of that noise. I can control it.
Yeah.
So you're freeing yourself to be with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why meditation is so valuable, because you're freeing you. You can sit with yourself and not have all the other distractions. So if I'm in a relationship and I don't have this person and they leave me, I'm okay. Or it frees you of codependence. It frees you of people pleasing. All these types of traumas that we have, it's simultaneously freeing you from that as well. So meditation frees you as you start to enjoy yourself. Because I can sit with myself. Oh, something came up. I feel an emotion that feels heavy. What do I do with that? Okay, I'm going to sit with it. Okay, I'm sitting with it. Oh, I'm seeing that it has an end. Okay, that's not that bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm freer.
Yeah.
So you're like, the science is you're freeing yourself from the own density of your emotions.
That's deep.
Yeah.
You know?
That's real. And time too. I think like I'll do like a 10-minute meditation, and I do guided meditations too, because I think the guided, this is just for people who just want to try it out. Like guided meditations, like it holds you accountable too, which is dope. So it keeps you on track. But what I'm realizing is, like, I'll do a 10-minute meditation and that feels like 30 minutes.
It does, yeah.
And it brought to my attention just like, damn, like, why do we move so fast? Why do we move so fast? If 10 minutes feels like 30 minutes when you just pause and not do anything, it kind of speaks to the society we live in and how we treat ourselves.
Yeah.
Or how we take care of ourselves. So
removing the urgency. Like, I just did a silent Buddhism retreat in Costa Rica in June. That's where I was at. And Buddhism really, Buddhism practices always use guided meditation, which I love too. But I didn't learn them until I started studying Buddhism. And it's so profound, but I also like this urgency that we have. Like, there's always this like sense of urgency, and it's just, it's a falsification of how we need to live. I'm literally sweating. Where we gotta go, where we gotta be.
Yeah.
What we gotta do.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
and I was putting it on my facilitators the first year of EA. Like, you need to get this done by this time, and you need to be this way. But why? Isn't it my own vision? Can we make the rules?
Yeah.
Bitch, can we make the rules?
Yeah. Yeah.
Aren't we doing this? So it's not real.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen all at once, but meditation can slowly start to show you, like, man, I can kind of slow down time.
Yes.
Like,
I used to, man, I'm with you 100% on that, because I literally have changed the way I just do regular things. Like regular stuff that you would just try to rush to do and finish.
Yeah.
You realize, like, wait, slow down. I ask myself, why am I going so fast with this? Do I need to? You know what I mean? And so I just think is super valuable.
Yeah.
In so many ways, and it's free.
Yeah.
And it just makes it more I'm enjoying myself more.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can enjoy myself in this more. Like, because I want all the joy I can get. Like that, I want all that bliss.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotta be present.
And I can get it in little daily doses of things. It doesn't have to be like a vacation or like a turn up. It can be in like these little everyday things that I can get bliss when I like slow down.
Yeah.
When I'm settling in with myself, like I can get that.
Yeah. And we just got to be able to appreciate like life, you know, and I think sometimes we desire things that we feel is going to make us appreciate life, but everything we need is already here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like,
you know what I mean?
That's true, bro.
Like, yeah, it's just like our focus is, those steps can be a lot. Like people like, I don't even know where to begin. And like, we keep it non-performative. Like we break it down. Let's just start with like a short pranayama practice. We'll give you a whole series just on pranayama and breath practices, or a whole like yoga series just on adaptability, like small movements, and then we'll work our way to something big. Or in cultivating yoga instructors and space holders who also are who are sharing that non-performative approach. Like we are committed to creating non-performative yoga educators because we feel like the industry really needs that. It's too performative. It's too fast. It's too focused on urgency and performance and fitness that like you're missing so many people.
Yeah. I love that. That's real. Man, this is gems upon gems, man. You are you are definitely making a much needed contribution in what you do.
Definitely.
And I did want to kind of get some insight with guests. We always like to ask kind of what's ahead and what you envision or what you're seeing. But are there things in the future that you can speak to, whether it's coming up? I know we talked, you got some things coming up very like more recent, but like are there also maybe long-term type things that you have your mindset on that you can speak to?
So the most upcoming thing is our 200-hour yoga teacher training. So if you are feeling that call to become an instructor and you're looking for a yoga teacher training to take, ours is completely virtual, online, live, and we have incredible facilitators with over 2 decades of experience, completely Black-led. And if you're looking to become a non-performative yoga educator, highly recommend you apply if you are really, really serious. This YTT, we don't play, so you can't miss more than 10 hours, y'all. So, and that's not a lot in a 200-hour yoga teacher training. So we have that coming up in September, and we're accepting applications up until then. And we'll have another 200-hour yoga teacher training in winter 2023. And then from after that, in the summer, I will be doing an 8-week series for yoga instructors called Intuitive Sequencing for the Chakras. So it's going to be for folks who are already certified yoga instructors who are really looking to create yoga sequences that are attuned to the chakras, but are focused on an anatomy perspective, like understanding the body. I think where a lot of yoga instructors miss the mark is they don't understand anatomy and kinesthesiology. They don't understand the body, and this is why I was able to sequence trap vinyasa and guide people in it so well and mix bodyweight exercises with yoga in a way that was super conducive for different bodies. Like really making sure instructors understand the anatomy, and it's not just like do this posture or that posture, which is why I'm so thankful for my teachers I've learned from here in Seattle, because they really know their shit when it comes to anatomy. And I think that a lot of teachers fall to the wayside with not knowing that. So that will be coming up in the summer of next year, where I'll be holding an 8-week series. So if you're a yoga instructor and you're looking for to create sequences, anatomically sound sequences for the chakras, definitely be on the lookout for that. Then, I'm also looking to do a podcast sometime in the future. But I don't know.
Let's get it.
I don't know.
I would definitely listen to that.
Definitely, for real.
Yeah.
I want to be dropping the gems.
Yeah, man. We need them, man. We need them, man. I got you, man. We'll help you out with that.
And helping all the sisters, though, out there, with the men's and stuff.
Yeah.
embodying your divine feminine, but not like in this like blasé way, but that feels very real, and rooted in the soul body, and really looking at like how I remove some of that density so that we can soften, not for someone else, but because we don't need to protect. Love covers.
I love that.
So I'm really passionate about that.
Yeah.
Because I understand it.
Yeah. Now the future's bright, for
Definitely.
sure. Future's bright, and we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, where can people find you? Where can they sign up? Where, I guess just your whole online presence.
All the addresses.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on the gram at Yoga by Biola on all platforms, on Twitter, on YouTube. That's YOGABYBIOLA. And if you want to follow Ia, if you are a seeker, a student, or a yoga instructor, and you're looking for non-performative yoga education, definitely head to Ia. That's IYA. .WELL on Instagram, and it's IYAWELL.com on that's our website. You can find us there. We have an online yoga studio. We have our 200-hour yoga teacher training that we are gearing up for now, and just more programs for seekers and instructors in the future. If cost is a factor, and you're looking to practice with me, I don't really teach in person anymore, but I do have a YouTube channel with over 100 free yoga videos from beginner, intermediate to advanced. If you're just wanting to, practice in your body with me, you can join me for free on YouTube.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it. I hope y'all are paying attention and taking notes out there, the viewers and listeners, man. This has definitely been a very enlightening, uplifting, and very grounding episode, I would say, for myself. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the listeners and viewers can definitely take away a lot from this. Now, but before we do get you out of here, we always ask our guests this question. So if you can, what is one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up, and why?
I'm sure people are always like, self-study. Self-study for sure. I'm constantly looking at myself. I'm never afraid to see what's there. I never want to get stuck in my own projections. So self-study is really what keeps me on the up and up. It's how I free myself.
I love it.
That's a good one.
That's a powerful one right there.
Yeah, I think
they're all powerful, but
But that's the first time we got that too.
I don't think we've gotten self-study before.
Yeah.
I like that, man. All right, well, like I said, man, I feel like you feel that. You feel that too, right?
Definitely,
it just feels like very easy right now. And I took a lot from this. I'm sure the listeners and viewers have as well. And you guys know where to find her and tap in and get connected. Man, this has been great. And with that being said, I think it's safe to say Biola, Yoga by Biola, Ia, the whole team, everybody that's involved are officially members of the Up and Up. Can we give a round of applause? Yeah.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Yo, what up? It's Rubino.
And this is DJ Erm.
We hope you enjoyed that episode and that now you have a better understanding of what it means to live life on the up and up.
Thanks for listening, and until the next one,
keep it on the up and up.